Hey people, entered here, 3v3, Angel Gates, blue team. We've got Noisy as a force commander for regular offense fights in melee combat, as a tank, disrupt and support with buffs alongside. Aguxyz is a Techmarine, starts up range combat, puts up some good damage, can also support with structures and repair and wade into melee combat. Rounding off this blue team, HansMoleman is a very stationary Warlock, a melee commander that can leap into combat, some good disruption, mobility and damage. This is the Harlequin's elite scheme. Red team, couple of Orc players. First up, zeetorq is a Mekboy teleporting commander that fights range combat, puts out some good damage, can also support, disrupt, build structures and repair. He's a very versatile little Orc, going after the VP top, but I might run into that force commander. The other Orc player is Viking as a Warboss, a melee commander that walks through objects, so very good offense, disruption and support from the front lines, and perpetually angry all the time. And rounding off the red team is Yaya as a Warboss for the Exarch, who seems to be in a garrison somewhere. There he is, being very annoying. Teleporting commander that fights range combat by default, great for harassing and capping, with some awesome control abilities and some pretty decent damage output when you start kitting this guy out. Improved targeters are no joke with a weapon upgrade as well. Look at his Howling Banshees being very aggressive and caught some tactical Marines unawares, but Noisy was aware and gets them away. Banshees, of course, now leaping into combat, no longer have their awesome melee charge. Force commander is going to get caught in retreat though. Do they even bother? Looks like they're going after the scouts, keep them away, though they have got the wreck point already. What's going on bottom? We've got a node, we've got some Dire Avengers on capping duty. Warboss going to come and have a word. It's very, very tight down here. Setup teams generally do well, since you can retreat them back to base very quickly, getting them back out again, so their setup times don't matter that much. You don't need to reposition them, just retreat them and bring them back out. Warboss is going to chase off the Dire Avengers, I think, but he has noted this, the blue team. Shooters now stealing bottom, double shooters of both the Orc players. Big shooters on all but one of the squads already. That was a destruct, and here comes the Warlock using fleet to get in there, or at least trying to get in there. Now behind heavy cover, using his psychic ranged attack, and the Warboss needs to back away, kicking off top. Red going for power harass already. That node has been taken down, so they've done some work already. The Techmarine didn't want to go for the garrison because of those burner Orcs. Maybe could have backed away and stayed in play there. Devastators with Vengeance rounds doing work on those Banshees. Wow, that's painful. Gonna get some Dire Avengers maybe on retreats. Not quite. What are these sluggers doing? This is suicide. They do get away. But does the Mekboy get away? It's a lot of firepower on retreat. Couldn't quite finish him off. Double shooter is still up here. Yeah, get out of there. Just get out of there. They decapped this wreck point as well, so that was a good little push by the red team. Didn't lose too much, achieved something, got node, decap this. How quickly can the blue team strike back though? We do have a shuriken here to try and stop that flow. Tactical Marines down to a single model. This is very risky from Noisy, does retreat them out. Power sword is up on the force commander, and he in turn is forced off. Good pressure by the red team. Really vital that he put the shuriken right there. Completely forced off Noisy with that single unit. Double devastators now though top. We might see some rangers from Yaya with their awesome suppressing ways, which is actually set to be removed in the next update. Go along to the forums, you see Keltos post about some of his short-term plans for the next update. 439 500 is a 2-to-1 cap for the red team. Setup teams all round. We have double looters, double devs and double shurikens. Hopefully they don't use the bash generators with suppression weapons. Bug kind of error type thing. At the moment you can bash gens very, very well with setup teams that have suppression weapons, because of a data error that will be, of course, fixed in the next update. Hopefully people aren't abusing it too much. Rangers on the way for Hans. Scout squad with a sergeant could get a really nice grenade spike on this little blob of range stuff here, but can he get close enough? Does he dare get close enough with sluggers hanging out right there? Space Marines should be pretty strong now. They have a beacon, double devastators, 2 commanders, and this guy has mastercrafted bolter, so it's going to be tough for red team to push against that Warboss. Maybe a knight needs to come up and help with a charge in there or something. Rangers going to turn and fire, are they? Shuriken made to retreat. There's that kinetic pulse. Good grief. Increased damage on that thing, of course. With their suppression and that improved kinetic pulse, they're actually a really good anti-melee unit. 427, 491.
We shall make it so.
Tier 2 for zeetorq and Yaya. Did get a little bit of harassment on their power, the blue team, but nothing major. Force Commander going for Artificer, so he has that increased durability. Drop pod here from Noisy, spitting out some tactical Marines, forcing melee combat on shooters, and that's the immolate from the Warlock. That would have been nasty if those guys stuck around for a little bit longer, but they did not. They were out of there. Looters are going to set up, try and keep the blue team away from this power at the bottom as long as they can. And of course, since this Angel Gate, your bases are right there, and Viking's going to be able to get back into this fight pretty damn quickly. It looks like he's won the tier 1 fight for the bottom power, as it were. This southwest double power nodes right outside the bases. A very strange setup on Angel Gate, but it's interesting. As you see here, Hans is bashing power with the Shuriken, and I suppose since all of these factions have set up teams with suppression weapons, it's not too bad. Now goes for the energy shield. It's going on top. 409, 474. Devastator's D-sitting up for some reason. Not entirely sure. I was going for the garrison. Howling Banshees with their Exarch has the Executioner Spear. 50 DPS or thereabouts, heavy melee. That teleporter relay beacon though, so strong. Can they push against it? Wraithguard maybe from Yaya, surely with all these Devastators and the beacon there. Surely we're going to see some Wraithguard. Dr. Exarch with no war gear whatsoever. Rangers actually using this thing for cover, I think, the drop pod, and they can now reinforce off it, of course. So Viking might want to destroy that thing. Sluggers are going to wipe if they're not careful. In fact, they do wipe. They were suppressed by the Shuriken and the Rangers, and that was a really nice immolate. Bad engagement from Viking. Just wasn't paying attention to his front line there. 386, 464 is a double cap for the blue team. Hans might be able to retake the bottom. Here are some Wraithguard for Yaya. Are there any gates? No, there are not. Gates can be a huge help for Wraithguard since they're pretty damn slow, even with their Spirit Seer guy. Put them in a gate, all of a sudden they're in the front line, and here's a Death Dread from zeetorq. Can they deal with a Death Dread and Wraithguard? This might be the end of this beacon. He needs to send the Force Commander in on this guy, I think, to tie him up so he can't use those front mounted flamers, and he does so. If he could use those flamers, that... oh, the beacon's going to go down pretty damn quickly anyway. Wraithguard seeing to that. Down it goes in 2 volleys. Wraithguard, of course, getting huge amount of changes in 2.4. Reduced damage and reduced courage damage as well, so they won't suppress in a single volley anymore, I think. But they do have also decreased speed. And even the Spirit Seer, I think, increases their speed less when he gets on the field. So quite a few nerfs for the Wraithguard. And a cost increase, of course. Up to 60 power, I believe. Still doing work here, as you can see, doing a hell of a lot of work for Yaya. And he's dropped a Autarch now in retreat. What's going on towards the bottom? Immolate goes off. Falcon on the field for HansMoleman. Viking is going to need to respond. Does he go for Beamy? He does go for Beamy. He's got stick bombers who could throw some stun bombs on that Falcon maybe, but oh, he's gone for a weird one now. Could get some plasma cannon damage on that Falcon as well. And maybe the Power Claw. You see it so often. Razorback is on the field for Noisy. Infield reinforcement for his team. Now that the beacon was pushed and went down. Really good push by the red team. I thought they'd maybe struggle against the beacon and all those setup teams, but they got exactly what they needed. A Death Dread and a Wraith Guard. That'll do the job for you. Falcon out shooting the looters pretty easily with their Death Gun. They're not doing any damage to vehicles really. And he's not paying attention. zeetorq does get away though. You saw the Rangers suppressing them with that shot. 342, 427 Dreadnought on the way for Aguxyz. Noisy getting some Stern Guard veterans on the field, replacing one of his tactical Marines. Warlock is down. Might be able to get revived from there. Aguxyz can maybe stroll over. Shuriken doing some work. Rangers in retreat. I think they were top mucking around. Stun bombs. Doesn't really matter on retreating units. And he's going to decap blue team's natural here. Weird Boy with the... what is it called? It's just called Warpath, which gives him Warpath. And gives him increased health and stuff. That's why you saw him moving so quickly there. Death Dread getting double repairs from a mech and some Dire Avengers. Falcon all the way up here from HansMoleman. Does some anti-vehicle damage this thing. That's why the Death Dread is backing away there. Stone Guard can use Vengeance rounds. Also Vengeance rounds from the Devastators. Other than that, there's not a huge amount of anti-vehicle on the field. Here's a Dreadnought. That could smack around the Death Dread pretty badly since it's got way more health and more damage. Dire Avengers being used in melee combat since they have their Warlock leaders, or Exarch leaders I should say, to force off those shooters. Really gives you that extra dimension for your Dire Avengers in tier 2. Get that leader up, all of a sudden you can leap into combat with him and tie up range squads pretty damn well. Especially when you use Embolden. There's some stick bombers disrupting the Devastators. Nicely thrown. Might see a really big engagement here. Here comes a Dreadnought to lead the line. Gonna try and tie up those Wraith Guard immediately, and there is marked target on the Wraith Guard. Doesn't in fact go after the Wraith Guard, goes after the Death Dread and does a lot of damage to it. No sign of orbs or anything on the Techmarine. Is level 3, and now that Master Crafted Bolter will be doing more damage thanks to the Signum armor. 259, 419. Walks for the Exarch getting into trouble. Has Power Blades. Tier 3 for zeetorq, Viking. Both the Orks are tier 3, and Orks can excel in tier 3. They have a really good combined arms deal going on with looted tanks, flash kits, and knobs. To put out a really strong army with that, not to mention commandos. Weird Boy getting a really good hit on those tactical Marines. Does not quite get a model, and those guys are getting a sergeant, having already got a plasma gun. Maybe Noisy is expecting the Orc tier 3 with flash kits and knobs, who are both heavy infantry units. The plasma gun will do a good job versus those. Will help versus the Weird Boy as well. There's that Master Crafted Bolter, high powered shot. Stick bombs again, causing real problems for the blue team. They can't sit behind cover and shoot down stuff as much as they'd like. These Devastators need to be really careful. That's a lot of damage on that Dreadnought, that Death Dread I should say, from close range, but he takes way too long to retreat. Does he get away? Yes, the Death Dread seems to be path blocking those stick bombs. That's an attempt to finish off the Devastators, and that's a very good attempt because it succeeded. Nicely done from zeetorq. Really nicely done. Weird Boy doing so much work for Viking. But blue team have the 2-1, and that was an excellent push. All things considered, got the wreck point decapped, didn't lose a whole lot. Noisy did get the Devastators wiped, and he's replacing them here. Tier 3 for HansMoleman. Tier 3 now for Aguxyz. It's now Yaya and Noisy in tier 2. 259, 349. Wraith Guard in retreat. Can he get a model or two of those guys as they do so? Warlock is not turning around. Level 3. Grenade. No, doesn't even attempt to throw a grenade. Very odd. Could have got one of those models, especially I guess it was a difficult throw. Immolate again doing work on those Orks. He's got caught with that a couple of times, but D-Cannon of course coming into play there. 255, 347. Red team have retaken the top with no opposition really. Blue team were basically off the field there. So Devastators, Stern Guard with their Hellfire rounds loaded in, doing extra damage over time to light infantry and stuffed with commander armor. So the weird boy and all of the red commanders. HansMoleman going for a sneaky decap under infiltration. Looter's getting spotted by those rangers incidentally. That's a webway gate spotted very quickly by these scouts. Nicely done, level 3. 234, 347. Our blue team gonna double top. Where is Aguxyz? What is he up to? He's repairing his dreadnought. Force commander's in amongst some looters using his teleporter. Might see him get the Thunderhammer out. It's such an amazing weapon. Death Dread going after him now, though, doing 60 DPS, I think, something like that. Heavy melee, and has an awesome special attack with a splash, of course, and down goes the Force Commander. Lots of damage on that Warp's Exarch. Should actually use Kraken rounds versus commanders. It does slightly more DPS than the Hellfire, but of course you don't get your damage over time, which helps versus retreating commanders and those sitting in cover and stuff. But you do get more raw DPS from Kraken. That's a good stick bomb again. Really good stick bomber usage in this game, I think. Has made differences in pushes. Plasma cannon forced to retreat, but shotgun saving them from the sluggers, and they don't want to fight a dreadnought. There's a sink kill. 212, 347. Nob squad on the field for Viking. zeetorq has some flash kits up already in retreat with their snaz guns. 205, 347. Energy field up for the Falcon, makes it very tough and annoying. Dreadnought doing some work. Has the Dark Age of Technology, so he's up to 1500 hit points and is still level 1. Death Dread getting more repairs. This thing has lasted into tier 3. Not often you see your Death Dreads last into tier 3. Dire Avenger's eating a big shot from the weird boy, and here's a very scary Nob squad. Can they get this Warlock in retreat? Nope. What are they trying to do? Running into trouble is the Nob squad. That was a bit weird. Maybe he just wanted to see what HansMoleman had down there. Force Commander's back on his feet, getting the Thunderhammer. That's going to really help versus the Nob squad. He's going after them here. Uses Battle Cry, then puts up his Iron Halo, switching out of the teleporter. Lots of war gear purchased by Noisy, but he does survive. Warboss incidentally does have the Power Claw and now has spiky armor. Tactical Sergeant with Plasma Gun also on that squad. Kicking off top though, big engagement here. Scouts tying up the Wraith Guard of all things. And well played by Aguxyz, gets them out of there. Now a Death Dread making a run for the Shuriken. Dreadnought does not want to get involved. It's basically a 2-to-1 versus Aguxyz, and he is tapping out, I think. HansMoleman is here with some support. Try and keep that Dreadnought in play, try and keep that Techmarine in play, doing some really good damage with that Master Crafted Bolter there. Death Dread now backing away. They're using it as a really good initiator and frontliner, soaking up a lot of shots. And Mekboy is with battery pack and custom force field. 201, 309. Avatar of Cain on the way for Hans, and a Land Red Redeemer on the way for Aguxyz. Yaya does not have the red for a nuke as well, nowhere near it, not even 100 red. He's got some warp spiders up. Did he just call them in? No, they're coming out of base. 195, 309. What's he used all of his red on, Yaya? The Autark and Webway or two maybe. Warps for the squad getting their aspects. Dreadnought taking a bunch of damage. That was a beamy looter doing work. Death Dread destroying the allied energy shield. That's a lot of anti-vehicle all of a sudden on this Falcon, and down it goes. Rear armor hit from the looters. That beamy death gun packs a hell of a punch. Look at that, 240 damage per shot. Get that on rear armor and it's serious pain. Flash kits have gone for their blasters. A good choice against two Space Marine players. Look at that damage. You can't try and outshoot them. Wow. Getting absolutely owned. 170, 309. Shimmer Orb is up for Yaya. No longer grants knockback immunity, but you still get full range damage resistance. And he's able to cap with it. They're going to get the 2-1. 170, 309. Blue team have some big stuff on the field though. Predator tank, Land Raider Redeemer, still with that Dreadnought as well, and an Avatar of Cain. This guy is leading the line now. 163, 309. Can the red team hold against this? They do have knobs and flash kits, and flash kits with their blasters with the psychic PvP damage will actually be doing a hell of a lot of work against the Avatar. Not entirely sure why blasters were given psychic PvP damage. I guess because they didn't want to give them really good damage versus vehicles and stuff, so they avoided the plasma cannon damage. 143, 309. Avatar still leading the line. Land Raider Redeemer pushing up super far. And they do have some good AV, the red team. They have a Bright Lance, they have Looters, they have Wraith Guard, they have a Haywire Grenade from the Warp Spiders potentially. Land Raider Redeemer needs to stay the hell back, I think. The cannon is up. Might get a shot on the Death Dread. There it is. With that damage of a time effect after the initial shot, of course. 134, 309. What's going on around the naturals? Force commanders down here doing work. And some tactical marines. I think Noisy is split. Or is he all bottom? It's Hans that is split, in fact. And splitting can make a huge amount of difference in team games. If you can control your army in two places reasonably well, you can do so much for your team. 134, 294. A Predator tank now on the way for Aguxyz. I always say don't get Predator tanks or tanks in general on this map. Well, players always do and usually use them, but we'll see. Usually lose them, I should say. We'll see how these do. There's a looted tank and soon to be 2 Predators, and they're doing fine so far. 134, 272. And the reason I say that, of course, is because of the very tight avenues you have to go down. Sometimes can be really tough for a vehicle. 134, 265. Red team being aggressive, capping top. Land Raider needs to be careful. He should keep this thing moving back. I think it always should be at the back of his army. There's a las cannon over there you saw from Noisy, maybe. Stone Guard veterans with And They Shall Know No Fear active. Now retreat at the sight of the sluggers. Sluggers with 1420 hit points. Almost level 3. And they found a Warlock who gets that leap on them and then backs the hell away. And they're pushing Blue team's natural. Could they get a quick triple here? Seer Council on the field from HansMoleman with this awesome skin for the Harlequins. Someone in the chat, or the comments I should say, will tell you who they're meant to be. Death Jesters or something? No idea. 106, 260. D cannon setting up. Land Raider sitting pretty, getting some repairs. There's a webway to support for mobility as well. Dreadnought is still level... Oh, it's level 2 now. 1620 hit points. Autark being really annoying, but needs to back the hell away. Las Cannon driving up here with las cannons on it. Predator las cannon, I should say. Shooter boys level 2. Bit of a lull in the action here. Both teams deciding, I think, where to push next. Looks like Blue team are going for the top. What's here to defend? Just a little bit of Eldar, not a whole lot. Wraith Guard not even getting involved, and the Bright Lance is off the field. Blue team will retake the top with a quick little push there. zeetorq was busy healing up, I guess. He was, all of his stuff was back at base. Avatar there to make sure the knobs back the hell away. They do have the hammers, and they have Media and Greener, and they have their knob leader. They are fully upgraded, and they are forced to be reckoned with, especially with Warboss buffs, potentially. Are they just saving up for nukes now, red team? They might be. Double rocks and an Eldritch, that is painful. Wraith Guard do get away. Have they leveled up these guys? They are level 2. Techmarine in the garrison might go down here. 82, 260. Good stick one throw again. Stopping a cap and taking out a scout. There's that las cannon Predator. Noisy lost his Predator, it looks like. Looted tank is still going though. And a Fire Prism now from Yaya. He's going double Fire Prisms. Aguxyz with a Librarian. Wasn't expecting to see that without Terminators around. We have a Librarian for Noisy, so maybe he's going to look to get some Assault Terminators up later on. This is generally a really good map for super units and Terminators, since you can run back to base pretty quickly or teleport back or whatever you need to do. There we go. Assault Terminators on the field for Noisy. Gets them up very quickly, in fact. I'd already cooled them down, I think, when I said that. Down goes a Fire Prism. An immediate impact. I think they're under swift movement from the allied Warlock, and there's Veil of Time now. 82-228. Seer Council getting involved. These guys now grant a damage resistance to ranged passively, and they also benefit from it themselves, as you can see, the blue markers. So a pretty nice buff for them in 2.4. 82-215. Blue team with some very big, scary looking armies. I don't think red are going to be able to push back. They need nukes. Do they have them? Viking has one. They're going for bottom though. Hans and Aguxyz need to be careful. It looks like Noisy is the more mobile one compared to Aguxyz, since Aguxyz has the Land Raider and he's sitting top with it. That was a Wailing Doom. Hits a single shooter boy who lives. Look at him go. Beamy Looter's getting shots in, but here comes some Seer Council with Distort Field on them. That's a hell of a lot of ranged resistance now. They also got increased health regen. Look at the health flying up. I think that is set to be reverted though. They're no longer going to have the extra health regen, since they did get the range damage resistance aura type thing. Mega Rumbler. Well, it's stopping the Assault Terminators in their tracks, and now they're taking massive shots from the Wraith Guard, but Game of Infinity sees them get out of there. There we go. Back to the Land Raider. Can get inside and heal up quickly. 82-161. Double cap for the blue team. No, they're just standing next to it, but I think they're all benefiting. Battle Wagon on the way for Viking. I think Viking should get his army together and go for a big push on the bottom, maybe, alongside Yaya. Looted tank still going for zeetorq, going bottom. 82-131 is a double cap for the blue team, and they are looking pretty damn strong. Avatar, Seer Council, Predator tank, Assault Terminators, Land Raider Redeemer. Almost level 7 Force Commander, level 6 Techmarine, and very near to level 5, or level 6 Warlock I should say, has Warp Throw and Providence. Maybe we'll see the Witchblade of Kurnus as well to further help with those knobs. Those knobs are going to struggle, I think, to make an impact with the Avatar there, and Seer Council now not messing around, being very aggressive with this Seer Council. They are tanking pretty damn well. 82-98 is a 2-to-1 cap for the blue team. Can they hold on? Warp Throw. Huge amount of disruption from the Seer Council as well. They leap into combat. Warlock also in turn being thrown aside by the custom force field. Avatar on the way for Yaya. Down goes that looted tank. I don't think I've seen anyone use the new Heart of Darkness, which is unfortunate for the Warlock. Now gives him an awesome buff called Enhance. Big engagement here. 82-79. There's a Rocks. What is he aiming for? What the heck? WTF indeed. Very, very badly placed Rocks. Obviously did not mean to put it there. This Battle Wagon's in trouble. Ate a Haywire Grenade from these Warp Spiders and is now getting shot down by the Las Cannon Predator, which in turn is getting repaired but goes down anyway to a Beamy Looter shot, I believe. 82-59, massive fight at the bottom of Angel Gate. Blue team have top sewn up with the Land Raiders sitting there. Red team are in trouble. Avatar hits the field for Yaya, but that wasted nuke I think, was the nail in the coffin. zeetorq can still use one. Yaya's just used an Eldritch. There it is. Don't think he's going to achieve that much with it. Doesn't even get a squad. A few models for your nuke is not worth it. I guess they're quite desperate now, down to around about 40 VPs. Here's an avatar. Force Commander in retreat. Knobs really seem to have done nothing, but they are almost level 3, so they obviously have. Every time I seem to look at them, they're low on health, getting disrupted. 82-32. Librarian lurking in the distance, has the Force Barrel, which is going to be an excellent anti-capping tool should they need it. Got to be sewn up though, surely, unless they drop a very, very good rocks indeed and push alongside it. But there's the Immolate and Destructor staying relevant in tier 3. Look at that. Yeah, they should be able to see this out. 82-16 Avatar, Wailing Doom with a rocks on the Land Raider Redeemer. Can they finish it off? Knobs are capping. They might get a 2-to-1 here using Frenzy. Plasma Cannon is way overshooting because of the elevation difference. Assault Terminators do not have their claws, but Nob Squad just lost a bunch of hit points and did not finish the cap. But Red Team do have a single. They've got Blue Team's natural decapped and are now trying to cap it under the orb. The Shimmer Orb is up and doing work. Smack! Plasma Cannon almost finishes off the Nob Squad. Can the Terminators do so? No, they can't. Nob Squad get away with 112 hit points. 73-12. It's going to be so close. More Fire Prisms for Yaya. He had 2 and lost them, I think. But Aguxyz is... Oh, this is a second Predator tank. So yeah, lots of tanks going down in this game, as always on Angel Gate. But people still keep getting them. 62-12. A single cap for Red Team. I suppose tanks in general are difficult to keep alive in team games sometimes. Especially on a very compact map like this, and with the pathing problems. It's just not a good tank map, I don't think. Avatar being chased down. Veil of Time Terminator is going after it. There are some sluggers to help it out. Doing some work, these sluggers. They're level 3. Oh, the Nob Leader unable to get hits in there though. 57, and it's a 2-to-1 cap for the Blue Team. Hands getting some lag, it seems. But they've got the game in a way. Red Team looking very thin all around. There's an orbital from Noisy or Aguxyz. I imagine Aguxyz, since he has no red left. There's the 1-to-1 cap though. Red Team fighting until the end. Good on them. Here comes a Warboss, and just imagine how freaking angry this guy is right now. Warp Spider's teleporting away from his stomp, and is going to be taken down. Yep. Now the Stone Guard veterans can cap. There we go. 50-3. GG, says Viking. And Blue Team are going to take this game. They just need to cap their natural back. Double Assault Terminators from Noisy. Good grief. Wraithguard did a good job for Yaya in retreat there. And there is the game. Let's look at the heroes. End of the game. Level 8 Force Commander, Thunderhammer, Artificer, and Iron Halo also had the Power Sword and Teleporter. Level 7 Techmarine. Doing some nasty damage with this Master Aquatic Bolter, I imagine, alongside Signum, and also had Orbs of the Omnisci at the end. Level 8 Warlock is down. Had the Immolator. Is that the Witchblade of Kurnus there? Not sure what it looks like. I think the Immolator's on fire, so it might be. Also had Providence and Warp Throat, so it would make sense if it was. Mech is level 5 with the Daka Big Shooter, Mega Rumbler, and Custom Force Field. Might have been better off getting the Beamy Looter on that guy. The Beamy Death Gun, I should say. Level 7 Warps Exarch with Power Blades, not sure what else. And a level 5 Warboss. Had the Claw, had Spiky Armor, and the... something. He had something. Was it a Trophy Rack? I'm not sure. I suppose it doesn't matter now. Blue Team take it. Aguxyz, one of the only commanders alive. Oh, the Mekboy still was as well. There you have it, guys. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.